Today on the channel, we got an exciting one from the Kayfabe Heroes KWK Retro line. We got one of the all-time greats with Ox Baker.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another KWK Retro Wrestling unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we got something a little bit extra special here today, as this isn't his first time ever figure. However, it's been a long time since we've got a figure. We got the great Ox Baker, but for all your Ox Baker needs, check out KWK, check out J&J Figures for your KWK retro figure needs. But Ox Baker is an absolutely amazing guy if you really take back the history of wrestling. And I love reading about wrestling long before I was alive, and even the years I was alive, obviously. But Ox Baker, one of those great ones, of course. A lot of people know him from Kurt Russell, Escape from New York. Remember that? He was in that movie. A couple other things throughout the years as far as acting and commercials and stuff. But known for being a wrestler, known for the mighty Heart Punch, and man, oh man, the Heart Punch. First time I ever saw it was from this guy, Mean Mark Callis, who Ox Baker had a little bit of hand in training once upon a time. Of course, the future Undertaker. But I'll never forget the Heart Punch as a kid. Like, you can punch somebody in the heart and it knocks them out and all this. I thought that was absolutely wild with Mean Mark Callis. But then going back and reading about Ox Baker and his Heart Punch in a different era, of course, talking like 60s, 70s, even early 80s. But the word is that, two people died after wrestling Ox Baker. Both of them didn't really die of the Heart Punch, obviously, but they let the fans think that. And you can imagine how much heat he had out there from the fans because of that kind of stuff. So Ox Baker, an all-timer if there ever was one. And man, talk about a menacing, evil look that would work even today, if you ask me. But if you ask me, I'm going to do this review like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And like I said, I'm very excited about Ox Baker, as this guy has not had a figure in a long time. Last time he had a figure was those plasticky FTC figures in the very early 2000s. So we can almost say 25 years basically since Ox Baker's had a figure. Would have been perfect for the Classic Superstars line. Would love to see a guy like this in the Mattel Legends line. I just think at the end of the day, it comes down to money. And I don't think Mattel could make enough money off Ox Baker. As sad as it is, that's kind of how it goes in this day and age. But I am thankful for the KWK brand to give us some of these classic talents from the 70s like this that are kind of forgotten at this point, unfortunately. And it's a sad thing to know that time passes by and, heroes of old just don't resonate with the modern collector or modern wrestling fans, whatever it may be. And that's where Ox Baker is here. So very cool, though, to KWK to step up for something like this. This is kind of stuff that really excites me in action figures. But enough jibber-jabber out of me. Let's dive into this. How about, let's start with the yellow one. That's where we're going. We got two varieties here, plus a twist at the end. Stay tuned for that. KWK, look at Ox Baker. Man, I can just run my fingers through that chest hair there. That's some real chest hair is what that is. A man's man, if you will. Like a young Scott Hall, maybe. Who knows? But Ox Baker looking extra crazy there in the figure and, of course, in the glamour shot there. Those eyebrows, absolutely wild. I would love to have crazy eyebrows that went up like that. I'd get the hair and the cream out and I'd make those things crazy. Looks awesome. And you got that big Fu Manchu. It just looks like a guy you don't want to mess with. That's for sure. KWK seal up top. Ox Baker. Ox Baker right there. On the back, we got, of course, some thank yous with my name on there. Shout out to KWK for that. Glamour shot once again, a little bit of tail of the tape. And look at that. There's a little list. I love stuff like this. All action figures should have a checklist like that. But let's see what it says about Ox Baker. Height, 6'6", and I would have never guessed he was 6'6". I don't know why that is. 320 pounds. Born April 19th, 1934. Yes, 34. He has since passed away. From Sedalia, Missouri. Beautiful this time of year. Todd, you got any Sedalia, Missouri stories? No? Well, you're in luck. I do. Yes, I do. I have Sedalia, Missouri stories. I believe that is where the Missouri State Fair is held every single year. And I believe once upon a time, I want to say it was like 1995, 1996, Little Kyle and his dad, of course, you've seen my dad here on the channel, we took a trip to Sedalia, Missouri. Obviously a starting lineup hunt, but at the same time, we went and saw Bob Dylan. Yes, Bob Dylan. I've seen Bob Dylan 27 times in concert throughout the year. And we went to Sedalia to see him in concert. And I'll never forget what sticks out about that show was it was at like a fairgrounds and they had folding chairs, like plastic folding chairs. And it was like on a racetrack, dirt track, whatever. Long story short, the ground was all dirt. So you're sitting there with these plastic folding chairs. And I remember being 16 or whatever I was. And my dad, I don't know how old I was. I don't know. I was 4. Who knows? Whatever. I remember sliding and slipping because the ground was sinking in the chairs. And my dad probably having a heck of a time being 6'8" and stuff like that. I remember that. That was the biggest thing I remember about that concert there. But shout out to Sedalia, Missouri right there. But I believe Ox Baker, I think he's from Waterloo, Iowa. Of course, yes, you're right, Todd McFarlane. The home of the NWA. Yes, the NWA, home of the NWA is where Ox Baker was from. And I think the story goes he got kicked out of school or something up there. So I'm not sure where the Sedalia went. Maybe he moved there. Maybe he was actually born in Sedalia. But I know he spent a lot of time in Waterloo, Iowa. The more you know, the more you know. Career highlights: NWA Hall of Fame 2014, United States Heavyweight Champion, NWA World Tag Team Champion, NWA Southern Heavyweight Champion, WWC Universal Heavyweight Championship as well. So Ox, a guy that gets around. And as do I, you know, like a young Beach Boys. I get around from time to time. There we go. Beautiful off the card. Love that. See you later. Goodbye. See you later. Goodbye off the camera. And now we're getting down to Ox Baker here. And Ox is ready to go. You put that hand up and that fist. It's like that old man, get off my yard, kid. It kind of has that look to it there. But we're going to start with the head sculpt on this one. Looking good on Ox Baker. Got that deep Fu Manchu. Looks like a villain from a movie. And then those wild eyebrows. Just very cool, very menacing. That's a look that still would work today, if you ask me. 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, and a mouth. Playing all those Ox Baker hits there. Interesting chest hair here. I gotta say, the paint job is amazing on this chest hair. When you look at it, it looks like it would actually be real fur, like a young Moss Man. It does look that way. So kudos to the paint job. But I'm just saying, could we get some real fur? Could somebody do it for me just one time? I think what's going to happen is I'm going to have to start my own action figure company. It's going to be all real fur figures going forward. I'm going to have real hair on their head, real hair on their body. It's going to be a wild thing. It's going to be the most successful toy line of all time. Let me tell you, that's exactly what it's going to be. But I guess I'm going to have to step up since nobody will do it. Nobody will do it one time. Do a variant, do a Chase edition. Mattel, KWK, Jazzwares, somebody. Let's step up. Let's get that done. But I will say, if it's not going to be real fur, this is a very nice rendition. This is better than what we see on Mattel and, of course, Jazzwares as well. So kudos to the KWK team on that one there. You do got a bit of a claw hand on this side, white elbow pad on this side, and then he's got the taped up white over here, and you got the fist balled up. He's ready to give you that heart punch. Gonna stop your heart right in the ring. Watch out for that, Ox Baker. You got Ox on his tights down here, just in case they get mixed up in the locker room or the laundry. You're right, Todd McFarlane, the laundry. I'll never forget one time. Oh, it's story time. Do I tell this story? Todd and I were at the local YMCA. Of course, the YMCA, it's where you have a lot of fun. We know how the song goes, of course. Todd, you and I were on that racetrack around the top, running around, and Todd was getting super hot. He was getting so hot over there, and not hot mad, but you got mad later, of course, but he was getting pretty hot, getting hot and sweaty there. And he said, you know what? I heard the YMCA in the back corner there, they have a laundry facility, and it's like a quarter a load or something like that. I'm just going to take these pants off, and you weren't wearing socks or shoes, so you were fine. He's a wild man. He runs barefoot. Not a lot of people run barefoot, but that's how you know you're a real man. Todd, I bet you got chest hair like Ox Baker. I bet you that's the case too. But Todd, you went up there and you got them done and you did your pants and you were just wearing, you were honestly free balling is what you were doing, Todd. And you were walking around there and you said, I wasn't standing there. I said, I'm not going to stay here if you don't have any pants on. People are going to ask questions. People are going to say the police might come. And that's where we got into there. But Todd, you went around, you said, I'm just going to sneak out real quick. There's that vending machine. And you wanted some of those sun chips. You were trying to be kind of healthy. But anyways, you went for the sun chips. And they were like the salsa ones. I don't like those ones. But you went for the salsa sun chips is what you told me. And Todd went over there, free balling, just a shirt on, no pants. You can just imagine the scene there. No shoes, no socks, no service. But Todd went in there, of course, and you got locked out. You got locked out and you didn't have any pants on. It was a wild time for old Todd McFarlane. However, he was looking around. You were scrambling. You're always a man of looking around. You're darting around like a squirrel trying to figure out what to do. And you saw that old lady down there, and she was in her changing room. And Todd snuck into the changing room there, pulled out her dress. And it was like a tutu type dress thing. And you pulled that thing out, ran off with that. And of course, the lady who was over there going to the laundry room ended up with your pants that had nothing on there. And that's where, at the end of the day, the long story short, long way to get here. There's more to the story, but I'm going to cut it short because we got to talk about Ox Baker here. That's why you guys came. You got to put your name on these things because they get mixed up and you run. Next thing you know, you don't have any pants. You're out in the hallway by the vending machines. That's what happened to Todd McFarlane. Todd, I'm sorry I had to tell that story. But anyways, you're getting down to the black pants here. You got the stripe on the side, red, white, and blue. He's representing the United States. Blue on the boots. Looking very nice here. And of course, fits on a stand, not a Jazzware stand. He's going to fit on a ringside Mattel stand is what he's going to fit on. And what do you know? Fits right there on that stand like clockwork. But KWK, Sean over there, was nice enough to send me a prototype edition of this exact same figure. Pretty much looking the same to me. I don't really see any differences. The big difference is the writing on the bottom of the foot. The prototype does not have any of that. So 2 versions of Ox Baker right there, but we're not done. In a plot twist, we got another version of Ox right there in red. I don't really need to read anything. Everything is the same, but you got the blue carding here, but a different look to Ox Baker. And I'm here. I'm a completionist for Ox Baker figures. Once again, smooth off the card. I'm here for that. See you later. Goodbye. See you later. Goodbye. Ox Baker. Same head, same body, same everything going on. It's basically the tights that are different. You got the red going on here, almost like Mr. T tights on this. White racing stripe on the side. Black boots with the white, white. I don't know my colors today. Yeah, white on the shoelaces there, looking good, or boot laces more like it. Articulation, arms all the way around here, head back and forth, waist side to side. Oh, there we go. Very tight, but got it to break through. Beautiful waist on that one there. Ox Baker, though, looking extra mean, extra evil in the red and white attack. I can't talk. I got all crazy after that story of McFarlane there. It does say KWK brand 2025. All rights reserved. And once again, fitting on a ringside collectible stand, which is key to be able to fit on a stand of some kind. Just a little extra protection for your retro figure. But looking very, very nice right there. But we're not done. Yes, in a plot twist, I did get another figure here sent to me loose, and this one's probably my favorite one. This is Ox Baker in yellow. This is the J&J figure exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. So a very cool one. Something about this yellow really, really pops on him. Really do like the looks of that one. So 4 Ox Bakers here today. I'm here for it, though. This is playing all the hits for somebody like me. Not going to be for everybody. I know it's a deep cut to many people, but if you enjoy your wrestling history, this is something you might want to dangle into and collect. Todd, what about you? You're out. You don't like wrestling. Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting that. I don't know why you're here for these, but he is. But Todd from the couch, ladies and gentlemen. But looking good. I do enjoy this Ox Baker, the master of the Heart Bunch. And I just hate guys like this are getting forgotten more and more each day with as people pass away and as people forget where they came from in the wrestling days, of course. But it is what it is. Time, it stops for no one. And as a wise man once said, what is time? Yeah, there you go. But there it is, Ox Baker, KWK. What's your opinion on these? Did you pick up any of these? Did you need any of these in your collection? You have any great Ox Baker memories? Everybody's got a grandpa that was scared of Ox Baker once upon a time, I think. But let me know your story in the comments down below. Check out YouTube channel memberships and Patreon for even more content from this YouTube channel. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and The Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com. And of course, The Kyle Peterson Show, my podcast each and every Tuesday, wherever podcasts are found, videocast on YouTube. Check it out if you have not already. So for Ox Baker, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
For me.